Hey, I'm doing this video for a student who's doing her visual dictionary image based on playing cards. And I'm going to go ahead and set up my size for my visual dictionary document correctly. So if I look back, at my project description, you'll see it's really specific. 8.64 width, 8.64 but by 5.59, 300 pixels per inch. 8.64 by 5.59, 300 dots per inch. And we'll do that. And I will probably drag in this student's image in a minute, but I'm just going to show you how to maybe make one of these cards first. I guess I'll drag in her image to start with, and then we can see okay, so here is the image we're sort of trying to make. You can see the original was not quite the right proportion or size, but I have these, so it's going to help me format this. So I think each of these cards are going to look best if I design them flat first. And what I think I will do is get a rounded rectangle, and I'll make them approximately the right size, something like this. You'll see properties pops up. I also have colors on top, so I'll just make this white or an off-white, and this will be my card. And I will make more than one of these, so in my layers I'll just press Command J. I don't know how many we're making, but there's a bunch. Okay, and I'll turn off the visibility of all the ones below and just work with this top one. If I'm going to make this the 9 of diamonds, go ahead and look in my shapes and see if I have a diamond, maybe the custom shape tool. Go to the gear, the settings, and say all. And just see if I have a diamond. I feel like I should, but I'm not exactly sure. Oh yeah, look, they even have card images down here. So here's a diamond. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and hold Shift, and I will change that to a red. Wonder if I click on this if it makes it red. Nope. Right. I will change this to a red, and I will move these to where they all go. So it looks like with this card, they're kind of like this. I'm going to just use my move tool, hold Option or Alt, and click and drag. And if they're snapping too much, I can take View Snap off, but I think it's okay. Actually, so I'm holding Alt or Option and clicking and dragging, then holding Shift afterwards. It's helping me kind of keep these in line. I need to give it a little more space because it looks not quite right. Or maybe I'll undo that, and I will simply select all of those diamonds. So over here in my shapes, in my layers, I will hold Shift and select all of those, and I will say Command T or Edit Free Transform. Hold Shift and go from a corner. So this fills about the right amount of space. And press Return. And I can I think Photoshop's helping me center this here. And then I'll go ahead and say Layer Group or Command G, Control G on a PC. So these are my diamonds. Now it's easy to copy the whole group. Hold Option, again, click and drag across, and hold Shift, and it'll keep them in line. And I'll try to make it visually about the same. And then I can, just copy one again from inside that group. And try to put it kind of centered. That looks good. And then I can copy that again Put it up in the corner, Command T or Control T on a PC, holding Shift, letting go of my mouse first. If it looks the right size, I might need a little smaller actually. Okay, press return. Trying to look at the cards where they kind of have these. Looks like it's kind of below like that. Okay, now I just have to find a font that looks kind of like this for my 9s. Okay, so I will grab my type tool and we'll look at our samples and just try to find something that's kind of a standard sans serif. I could switch it later, but just for demo purposes, I'll just pick this one, Gill Sand. And I will click and drag a little box, press 9, select it, change the color to this color. And if it doesn't look quite right, so I'd have to change the font. But I can just make it about the right size. And then if I want to change it, let's see if I can move this image over a little bit so I can see it change while I do this. See how it changes? So it looks a little closer. There we go, that looks pretty good. Oh, it's just Helvetica. So that's a pretty close match. If the size is a little off, I could resize it either by transforming it or by doing the font. And what I could do is just grab that 9 and my small diamond, and I can just go ahead and copy those just like I copied everything else. So I'm using my move tool, holding Alt, moving them into place sort of down here. Edit, free transform, and just hold Shift while you do that. It'll go in 45-degree increments. And I'll try to make sure that I have the spacing about the same. Something like that. So that looks pretty good. Now that I have this flat card, what I'm going to do is I'm going to group it all together. Everything I've made so far. So I could say layer group, or you guys saw Command G, and I will just title this 9 of diamonds. Okay, and so I would make each card flat like this, and then as a group you can transform them together. So what I could do is edit free transform first. So I'll move it up where this 9 is. I'll kind of get that curve right. Edit, transform, and let's skew it. Okay, and now I'll move this transformation point down to the bottom. And maybe this back in here so I could see the top of it. And I'll just try to kind of lay it down in a similar way. That looks pretty good. So something like that. Maybe just make a copy of the whole group. So I'll just select the group, say Command J, turn this one invisible in case you want to go back to the individual parts. And with this one, while it's selected, say Layer, Merge Group. So then that is just that card right there, flat. And if you hold Command and click on this, it will just reselect the whole area there. And then you can use things like your burn and dodge tools to add slight shading. So I can make this real soft and real big. I think the white is a highlight. So you can see what I did is just kind of real subtle. I added a little shading onto the card. And if you can't see it, what I could do is go to the history. I'll just do before. Did you see how it brightened up? And after. Right, so you could add some slight shading, and then you've used your 3 mark making tools. For the back of the card, what I would do is look for a pattern. Okay, here's another card. is take this, copy it, so I'll just write in on top of it again, Command J. Free transform this one so it's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to hold Shift and Alt or Option. Press return. Double click it to change the color just so we can see it. Let's go ahead and just click in this blue so you can kind of see what it'll look like. And what we want to do is probably pick the paint bucket tool. Let's look for some patterns. Let's see if we have any patterns that are fitting for this. Let's do, what are patterns? Waffle wood woven bubbles. Optical checkerboard maybe. Herringbone looks good, just the wrong color. If we do herringbone. And then we do a blend mode. Something like that. If you think it should be bigger, you could deselect it, free transform it. You know, just make it bigger. Something like that. And then go ahead and use this layer again. This is the color layer underneath. Just hold Command and click on it. And go ahead and mask layer 24. There you go. And select them all, group them, and now you can edit them and transform them just like we did this card above. I hope that helps.